Hi, this is Lejeune with Lejeune Singleton LLC, Fitness, Health, Nutrition, and Wellness Podcast. Today I'm talking with diabetes coach Tamica Lloyd, who is a certified integrative nutrition health coach. Welcome. Thank you for
Thank
joining me.
you. I'm so happy to be here, LeJune.
I've been trying to find a nutritionist for a while, and when I came across your profile, I was like, great, because a lot of people have questions about nutrition, especially diabetes is the extreme high risk in our community. So I think it's very important to have someone who's experienced it as well as who educates about it. So can you give a background about yourself?
Sure. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes almost a decade ago. And I remember going to the doctor, and he's telling me the diagnosis. And he says, well, unfortunately, this is a progressive disease, and eventually you will die from something from it, whether that's
Wow.
kidney failure, heart disease, whatever. And I asked him, well, can it be reversed? And he said, no, you just,
Oh,
you'll
wow.
take medication, and then eventually you'll need more medication, you'll need insulin, and it's just a progressive disease. There's really nothing that you can do about it. So I come from a family with a history of type 2 diabetes. And I just was sitting there crying and thinking, because I did not want to end up having to shoot myself with needles every day.
Mm,
I just
right.
couldn't. So I did a little research online, and I came up with this book that was called The China Study. And this book changed my life. And it talked about different diets and how food actually does impact your health. And
Yes.
so I said, you know what? I don't have nothing to lose. Let me just try it. So from there, I started taking things out of my diet, implementing, things like meat, most meats anyway, dairy, low fat diet. And I went to, the doctor 3 months later and, lost weight because at this point I was over 220 pounds. I
Oh,
stopped getting on the
wow.
scale at 220. I just stopped. After
Wow.
220, I said, no, I'm not going back on there.
Wow.
And so, I went back, and it's when I started eating this way, I never knew how good I could feel because I was so
Mm,
used to eating junk. It's called junk for a reason because you
right.
feel like junk. You feel like
Right,
crap.
right, right. I definitely
And
agree.
yes, and it was just like, oh my God. But long story short, it did reverse itself.
Mm,
And I thought, why isn't this out there? Why don't people know this? That you can really control your life and your health with food. And so that became my mission to help women all over the world that have type 2 diabetes and want to reverse their situation.
and I think it's important that you said that because many people go to the doctor, they don't want to change their diet. The medication they take is basically a band-aid because they don't want to change their diet. And most doctors are not going to tell you, hey, you need to eat healthy because they get paid by the pharmaceutical company. It is what it is. So it's unfortunate, but I definitely think that's amazing that you took the initiative for yourself and said, I don't want to live like this. And that's tremendous. So I applaud you on that. Were there any hesitations or fears or, any type of negativity coming from family? Because most people, definitely family that struggles with diabetes are not that encouraging and supportive when it comes to you
Mhm.
changing your diet. So were there any hesitation or fears when you decided this is what I'm going to do?
Oh, yes. You always have, I call it the people that are stuck in the slave mentality
Right,
of
right,
where they are.
right.
So when you start to change your food, they think, oh my God, first of all, you're getting to what what you're getting too small. Like, are you okay? Are you
Mhm.
sick? And I mean, at
Right.
this point, I think I wasn't even all that slim at this point. I think I was probably at the 175 mark. I'm only 5'4". And they're like, are you okay? You look sick. You're losing weight. And I'm like, no, I feel great. I just changed what I'm eating. And they're like, well, protein. How do you get your protein? And I'm like, are we gonna go there with protein?
Oh
There's
yeah.
protein in kale. There's protein in
Right.
broccoli.
Right.
Look at gorillas. Look at deer. Look at all the animals
Right.
that are plant based. They're not eating other animals, and they look strong and
Right.
healthy. Okay, they were not very supportive,
Mm.
and or you get the questions of, what are you gonna eat? Like, you're gonna eat that rabbit food?
Right.
Rabbit food. You know how much I eat during the day? Your fruit, the vegetables, the beans. I'm like, you still on white rice. Do you know if you ate black
Right.
rice, the
Right.
seasoning, the taste? It's like I'm
Right.
drooling just thinking about it. And after a while, it's sad, but I had to kind of cut myself off from certain people because if I didn't, I knew it would only be a matter of time before I would just revert to what I was doing before. And luckily for me, I have a husband who at that time was also overweight. He was over 200
Mm.
pounds. He's supposed to be a small guy. And he loves to cook. And he started researching different recipes. And if it wasn't for him, I don't really think I would be as successful as I was, because I didn't know how to cook anything other than, macaroni and cheese and steak and
Mm.
greens with freaking pork in it. And so, but yes, family, I know they mean well,
Right.
but
Right. Right. So do you feel that having that support from your husband was that huge aha moment and that factor of I can do this? Because I think support is big and it is important when you have somebody that is, cheering you on that you want to do better. So do you think that was that driving force minus, not outside of you didn't want to be injecting yourself every day or taking medication every day, was that something that you think really was the heighten of your lifestyle change?
definitely, I would not have done it without him, because, especially when you're married. If I was single, probably yes, but being married, you're eating pretty much the same meals.
Right.
And if he wouldn't have done what he did, I probably would be injecting myself right now. I really believe that.
Mm.
You need that. You need somebody, especially when you're in the same house. It's hard to look at somebody eating a bag of chips and then you sitting
Right.
over there with some carrot sticks and some celery crunching, like, really? Really?
I agree. I agree. Yeah, and that definitely takes willpower because if you don't have the willpower, you're gonna be like, okay, give me some of them chips. So I think that yeah, that definitely is a big thing, and I'm glad that he was a huge support for you to be able to assist other people. So what population do you serve?
Women, and they're usually women between the ages, I think the youngest person I think I've ever had was 28 with type 2 diabetes, and they go all the way up to 65. And
Mm,
they are women of color, meaning Black
mm,
women,
that's
meaning
good.
Indian women, meaning Hispanic women. Um, I don't, it's kind of funny, not that I purposely do it like this, but I really don't have too many Caucasian women. They are all women of color. And it's so important to me to serve that demographic because we are the ones who are really suffering, who are
We
dying
are.
from this
Yeah.
needlessly. And I love what I do because it's not hard once you get past the stereotypes in your mind of what food is. And, Black people, we've been raised on scraps. I mean, you think
Right.
back to slavery days, they were giving us the food that they didn't want. They knew that stuff wasn't healthy. So they're like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
you can get it. And we took it and we do what we do, which is make it taste delicious.
Exactly. Yes.
All the while we're slowly killing ourselves. And we're still doing that. We still equate, food and crap and oil. We still that's food. That's good. It's good. It's good
Right.
stuff. You gotta have that macaroni and cheese. That's good. There's nothing wrong with some macaroni and cheese, but if you eating it every
It's not.
day,
Yes.
a little problem.
Yes.
Because that is what is the problem with type 2 diabetes. A lot of people think it's sugar. It's
Oh
fat.
no, it's definitely not because if you have high blood pressure, that can turn into other health issues. Anything that's affecting your
Mhm.
heart can
Yes.
definitely affect other parts of your body. And
Yes.
in our community, people don't go to the dentist regularly. If you have issues that's going on with your gums, that goes to your bloodstream, that goes straight to your heart. So
Mhm.
it's definitely
Mhm.
important. So what does a session look like when people come in and they're about to start services? What does that look like? How does that begin?
It first begins with a health questionnaire. And this is the part that people hate the most because it's a long questionnaire. Because I got to know what your family history is. I got to know what your eating habits are. I got to take me a day in the life of what you eat every day. After that, and I review that, then we have a conversation and we talk about things. Are you allergic to anything? Do you have any food and sensitivities? A lot of people don't know. It's the reason why maybe sometimes you feel bloated after you eat that, I don't know, that your favorite meal. That's not normal.
Mhm.
That means there's something in there that's affecting you.
Yep.
So we go through that. And then based on the answers to their questions, you can either do it one or two ways. You can do it the no brain way, which is what I call it, because I actually will give you recipes for 30 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner
Mm.
with the shopping list, the how to's, everything. You can get that weekly. Or some people like to dabble and do the food on their own. They'll get a guidelines of what they can eat, or more importantly, what they can't eat. And then they will come up with their recipes, and we meet weekly and we talk about mindset. Mindset is everything. We talk
Oh
about
yeah.
your exercise. Are you exercising? Are you just walking? Because some of my clients can't do anything but walk. And that walk may even just be 7 minutes. That's all they can
Right.
do. That's fine. We talk about your visioning for yourself. We talk about your stress level. We encompass the whole person. It's just not about what you're eating. So you get a whole lot of history lessons on food, but you also, like I had this one particular client who didn't realize that her relationship was triggering her bad eating.
Mm.
And so she delved into the mindset and she's just like, I don't know why, I'm doing everything. She goes, I'm following everything exactly. I don't know what's wrong. And the more she talked, she goes, oh, wait, no, I argued with this person and then I did have that cookie. Like it was just, she started breaking down the layers and she realized that her,
Emotional eating.
that's what it was. And she was sabotaging herself.
Right.
And the program usually does last, you have 3, 6, and 9 month programs depending on where you are. And then I always encourage them after the 3 month mark to go to your doctor, get your A1C levels, get your blood work so you can see how you're progressing.
Mm.
And they're in constant contact. I'm always in constant contact with my clients, always.
And I think that's definitely a big thing because they have someone that is a support factor for them, and that's you, where you're checking in, you're doing the accountability with them, and that probably goes a long way. especially like you said, if you have family members or friends that are trying to well, not intentionally, but sabotage you
Mhm.
because they're
Mhm.
not trying to change, and they're like, well, okay, girl, it's just pizza, it's just a slice. So definitely, can see that, and that's definitely important. And as you said, even with my clients, one of the things were relationships, because you don't know how those relationships impact the way that you are eating, impact the way you're treating your body, and what we put in our body. One of the things that I'm sure you get where, clients have acne breakouts and they can't figure out, they're doing all these regimens, and it's basically what you're putting in your body that's causing these breakouts.
Mhm. Exactly. They want to always treat the topical. You can't treat the topical. You got to treat what's inside. How you feel on the
Right.
inside is going to come out on the outside. And unfortunately, we have this mindset of what is the word that they always moderation. Everything's good
Mm,
in moderation. Crack ain't good in
moderation. Right.
moderation. Neither is certain foods. No, it's not. When you
Right.
have type 2
Right. Right.
diabetes, moderation will kill you. Now, if you don't have anything wrong with you, yeah, you can, dabble and eat and drink. But when you are a type 2 diabetic, moderation will kill you. It's just a matter of time. So that's the line that I always get. Well, but if I just eat one cookie, you didn't get this way from just eating one cookie.
Right. You got this way of eating cookies and starches and
Oh yeah,
drinking
some
sodas,
French
juices, and all
fries.
this, right? So it definitely didn't come from that. So, what foods do you recommend for clients that are living with diabetes? What changes do you suggest for them?
I always suggest that they eat a lot of green foods. Green foods is your friend. Rather that's, different types of greens, collard greens, mustard greens, salads, smoothies with a whole lot of greens, celery. If it's green, 9 times out of 10, unless you're putting something else in it, it's good for you. Any type of fruit, any type of vegetables. And I know fruit is another one with type 2 diabetes. You're like, oh my God, I can't eat fruit.
Right.
And I actually had to take a poll to see out of the people out there how many people actually ate fruit before they were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And legit,
Mm,
none of them did. They may have an apple here and there, but none of them did. And so I said, well, you didn't eat fruit beforehand and you got to type 2 diabetes. You need fruit. Fruit has so many great, nutrients in it
right.
that your body needs. So I definitely, and to me, it's all fruit. I don't care what fruit it is. Some people just say stick to berries. No, all fruit has its place in your healing. So fruits, vegetables, potatoes, sweet potatoes, lentils, any type of beans, uh, different type of rices like brown rice or black rice or red rice. Stay away from the white foods. White rice, it's not going to help you. White
Right.
pasta is not going to help you. Stay away from oils. You can saute without oil. A lot of people don't know how to do it, but you can water
Right.
saute it.
Right.
Um, Stay away from dairy, stay away from dairy, stay away from dairy, and stay away from dairy.
And I think those are the things that people, is definitely a weakness is dairy, because we love cheese on burgers, we love mac and cheese, we love cheese
Yeah.
on sandwiches, pizza, the list
Mhm.
goes on and on. But we, especially in Black people, it affects us the worst. So
Yes.
we don't really realize the risk that we're taking and what the harm we're doing to our bodies. Another thing is we love our desserts. So cakes,
Mhm.
pies, and we feel every time after we eat, we got to have something
Look at the
sweet.
dessert.
So you got to have dessert, but they don't understand that salt triggers you to want something sweet.
That's right. That's, oh yeah, stay away from the salt. It's so hard, and it was hard for me to eat foods in its natural state because I was so used to salts or, different seasonings. Or
Yeah.
even like broccoli. Talk about cheese. I used to love broccoli with some cheese on it. Now I
Yes,
think about
yes.
it and I'm like, oh my God. It's like, yeah.
Right. Right.
But it takes time for your taste buds to retrain itself. Like now, if I went and ate anything with cheese, my heart rate is where I feel it. And
Mm.
it drives my sugar up and I just get that boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what the heck? And it's like, yeah, because I was sitting over here eating that macaroni and cheese. Like you feel it.
Mm.
You
Right.
feel it. And that that is what happens when your body gets used to good food. Before you didn't know any better.
Right.
But once
Right.
and after I usually say 3 months, you go back and you eat that bowl of ice cream, you're gonna get a headache and
Yeah. It is not good. Yeah, I went on a cruise December, January, and I got ice cream, and it was
Mhm.
disgusting. So you definitely, and when you don't really eat sweets like that anymore, your taste bud change is too sweet. So I definitely can understand that. So can you explain the difference from pre-diabetic, type 1 and type 2 for people who don't know? And what are the signs and symptoms if you had any or if you didn't?
Type 1 diabetes, what they used to call juvenile diabetes, and that happens when there is some sort of trauma to the pancreas, and now your system cannot produce insulin. Now, I will say nobody really knows why. Some people say it could be food poisoning, it could be you had too much milk. They don't know. But in that case, your body does not produce enough insulin. And so you will be on insulin for the rest of your life because your body just can't make it anymore. Your diet will, though, dictate how much insulin you need.
Mm,
The second one, pre-diabetes, is the precursor to type 2 diabetes. And that basically means that you have your glucose is high, your A1C, which is the unit of measurement that they use to see if you are diabetic, is elevated. And at that point, it's your warning sign. It's like, all right, you're pre-diabetic. You're either gonna have to change your eating, drop some weight usually, even though sometimes you can be, 100 pounds and still be pre-diabetic, but you have to
right.
make the changes. If you don't, then the next step is type 2 diabetes.
Mm,
And once that happens, then, they're going to start you out with metformin. And if you don't change your diet, it'll gradually go into insulin. We also have type 1.5,
mm,
which is kind of new. And what they found is that some people that they thought were type 2 diabetes, now these people are doing
mm-hmm.
everything right, and they still can't get their A1C level down to the normal range. That's because they have, again, some trauma that they didn't know about before, but now they got it. And so these
Right.
people also have to live with taking some sort of medication. And now you got type 3. And what they're calling type 3 is like dementia,
Right.
Alzheimer's. Now, and that's like type 3 diabetes. The most common one is type 2, and that's the one that can be reversed. If you do have type 1 or type 1.5, you still have to pay attention to what you're eating because the more junk you put in your body, the more insulin you need to bring, your blood sugar back to normal. And that's not good. You don't want to be living on a whole lot of insulin when you can just control it better with your food.
All right.
So,
And what are some of the signs and symptoms? Because I know you mentioned dementia. And a lot of studies now are saying that sugar is one of the triggers for fibroids and dementia.
Oh, yes, yes. If excessive thirst is probably one of the biggest things to say, maybe you need to get your insulin checked. Um, if you feel lightheaded a lot, if you feel, some people think it's vertigo, but it's not. It's just that you're eating, you have so much fat and sugar in your bloodstream that you feel
Mm,
like you want to pass out. If you're going to the bathroom more than usual, and it's not like, you're drinking gallons of water, then you probably should see your doctor and get tested for diabetes. For type 1, I think the biggest probably symptom is how you feel. Like you feel off. You'll know something is wrong. And you may not think it's type 1 diabetes, but you will know that something is wrong. But I would say excessive
mm.
thirst and you going back and forth to the bathroom too much and blurriness, your eyesight. If your eyesight is changing, maybe it's your sugar level that is too high. Um, One of my clients now, that's how she found out. And I mean, if you look at her, beautiful woman, 5'2", 110 pounds, goes to the
Oh,
gym every
wow.
day, spend 2 hours in the gym every single day. And she goes, for some reason, it's just my eyes. I always wore glasses, but it just seemed like I just got my prescription and now I can't even see out of those. And she goes, let me just go to the doctor. And that's how she was diagnosed once they did the test that she had type 2 diabetes. She would have never thought. She goes, I would have never thought in a million years someone who looked like me would have type 2
Right.
diabetes. And
Eh,
so you can't exercise your way to good health. You can't. You need everything.
And I'm glad you said that because, most people think because they're certain size, um, they don't have any health issues like diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure, things like that. And they're like, oh, I'm healthy, I'm small. It's impossible for me to get that. And that's, I definitely thank you for sharing about your client, 110 pounds, and she has it.
hmm Most of
So,
my clients are, it's kind of ironic, but most of them are in the fitness industry. I don't
mm,
have too many clients that are overweight, that are what you would stereotypically see as a type 2 diabetic
right,
person.
right,
I don't have that. So, and for me, those will probably be the easiest ones to treat because, you get rid of the weight, your insulin and everything will usually adjust. But when you're dealing with people that they're already fit, I mean, six pack fit,
right, right,
it's it's all about them changing their mindset to realize it's what you're putting in your mouth.
right.
So,
And that's
yeah.
that's definitely the case because I think, most people they eat at McDonald's and they supersize it and they go to the gym and work out and it's like, okay, but you don't understand that you have to work out at least 3 to 5 times that day to burn off what you just got at McDonald's.
Yes. Oh no, no McDonald's.
So just, and I've seen people do that and, they get the Diet Coke and it's like the Diet Coke
Right.
doesn't do anything, just get some water. But yeah, but
Yeah.
it's people that do that.
Yeah,
So,
stay away from the diet stuff. I gotta say that. Do not take anything that's diet, no Splenda, no Equal, no, because number one, that tricks your body and that actually makes you more hungry because it's a fake
mm,
substance. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. I'd rather you might as well just have the regular Coke because at least the body knows that that is actually sugar and it knows how to process it. These diet things, and then they cause cancer. Just saying. So don't do it with them.
Well,
Just don't.
I thank you for sharing that because people don't know they're trying to find a substitute for sugar because sugar is so bad. But like you
Mhm.
said, it's a moderation thing. It's how much you're using of sugar. You can't get a whole tablespoon in or pour half a bag of sugar in your
Mm,
beverage or your tea and think that oh, I'll be fine. No, you can't do that. It's
no.
moderation, but it's the same thing with Splenda or Equal or whatever. They're using five, six, 7 packs to just get the tea sweetened. So
Yeah, which is crazy because that just affects your system. I mean, sugar already affects your system in a negative way when it's that type of sugar. But the chemical imbalance that occurs when you're using fake sugars, you would be amazed. And what always annoys me about that is when those studies were done in the 80s, when aspartame first came out, and they saw that all of these, experiments with rats and these mice are getting now
mm,
cancer tumors, and they just said, it's okay. Yeah, we'll just put it in the public. And they market it, and you do think, oh, well, it's not sugar, it's good for me.
right, right.
It's not. I mean, the only one that, and it's not artificial, it's stevia. And most people don't
Hmm.
like stevia because it's this taste. It almost has this tart taste to it. And people don't want that. They want sweet. They want sweet. Please stay away from the artificial sugars.
And I would say honey is another, good sweetener. If you
Oh
want
yeah.
a substitute, honey is definitely another
Yeah.
one. I use honey in tea regularly, so I would definitely
I
suggest
love
honey.
honey. I
Yeah.
love honey. And it has those chemical compounds in there that just make you feel good. They have
Right.
antioxidants in honey, makes you feel good. So that's right. You want some tea? Get some honey in it. And that for you coffee drinkers, I don't know. I never had honey in coffee, but
I haven't had honey. Well, I don't drink coffee, but
I don't drink
um,
coffee.
that is, I definitely use it in tea, and it definitely works for me. Um,
Okay.
so now that you've transitioned into this healthy lifestyle, what does health and wellness mean to you?
Oh, health and wellness means being totally connected, mind, body, and soul. Before I used to view me as these separate entities, what I think, what I do, how I act, what I eat. And it's not. Everything that you do is going to either lead you to a health and wellness path or a destructive path. It's not just one thing. And so that's why I like to treat the whole person. When you have
Right,
any type of
right.
ailment, it's the whole person because it's all energy and we're all connected. And so that is what my experience has, taught me that you can't have one without the other because you can very well have eat very well and still not be in the best health. And that's because you're stressing all the time. You got that cortisol
Mhm.
pumping in your body and it's affecting you. So then you're still not one, you're still not well. So you have to make sure that all your levels are in sync and you're just stabilizing your focus and you're not stressed. And that's how I view health and wellness now. The whole body,
And I
mind and
think that's
soul.
for sorry about that. I touch on cortisol in my Facebook group and where, the stress really does affect your adrenal gland where, you're wondering, I'm doing all this exercising, but I'm not losing weight. You're not losing weight because you're still stressing.
Hmm. Exactly. Stress kills. It really does. And usually when we're stressing, it's about things that we're not supposed to really stress about. Like people are stressing about life. I can understand if you're going through a traumatic time or if you had an injury, but people stress even about, oh my goodness, it's raining. What am I gonna do? Like it's just little things.
Right. Right. Right.
Food.
Right.
Just like oh my kid, like what one of my friends were talking about their child. He's like, oh my God, I'm so upset. And I'm like, what's wrong? It's like, my child didn't, get into Columbia. They got into Brown. How fast they got what you stressing about? Look, they got league school. Why are you stressing? But it's not really where I wanted them to go. It does not matter. And she was really making herself
Right.
over it because she had this vision of where she wanted her child to go. So it's like we stress about just really insignificant things, and every
Oh
time
yeah.
we're just taken apart, we're just lowering ourselves a little bit more every time until we become a shell of a being.
And I definitely agree because we are either focused on the past or we're focused on the future, but we never focus on what's going on right now in our lives. And I think that definitely, causes a tremendous stress because they're like, well, in the future, okay, you're not in the future, you're in the right now. So can't we focus on the right now? Well, I remember when such and such, okay, well, that happened, it's over with. What did you learn from that situation? What are you gonna do now? So I think those things are definitely important. We're still going through a pandemic, but during the pandemic, was it a struggle for your clients? They're at home, most of them are teleworking, or they're, homeschooling their kids. Were there struggles with food in the house where they were binging or they had to call on you more?
Oh, definitely. The good thing, the good thing about my clients in COVID is that now they did not have the excuse of I don't have time to learn how to
Mm,
prepare my meals. And so I did a whole class on, preparing certain foods and how to cook and how to even with smoothies, because I love, I don't know if you ever heard of the medical medium, but he has this heavy toxic smoothie release and it has things like,
mhm.
berries and bananas and kale and all this good stuff. And I do it every day. And I said, well, when you have your smoothies in the morning, if that's what you like to do, you can prepare all those on Sunday, freeze them in the mason jars, and take them out
Right.
every day. And I don't have time for it. Oh, Tamika, I don't have time for this. COVID came, and it's like, they were like, okay, how do you do that? And
Like, I need advice now, okay? Please help me. Yes.
they were getting the kids involved. Like it just became a family thing. And so that was the upside of COVID. The downside of it was, yeah, they needed me more because they're so used to handling stress with food. And so they needed more of that specialized attention to say, well, what else can you do besides eat? Like you want to eat because you bored. And you bored. And that's
Right.
just so you got the kids. Do you have, a family night, a game night, or this night? Do you write? Like then we go to explore other things that they forgot they even like to do. Like one person was writing. She was like, "Oh, I haven't written since I was in college." And I'm like, "Well, why don't you start now?" And I
Right.
mean, she did it. She actually wrote a book and is actually trying to get it published now. So it's like,
Oh, nice.
so it was about redirecting that eating to something else. And now you got time. So now you got
Mm,
to learn how to use those weights. Now you got time to read more books. That's how a lot of them have been getting through it.
okay. And how are you balancing career, personal time, and family?
Oh, I just have a schedule. I live by my schedules, and I have my morning routine where I don't look at the news anyway. But before I even pick up my phone, I have to do my meditation. I have to do my journaling. I have to practice gratitude. I have to pray. Like, I am just a stickler for my routines and my scheduling. And my clients know I make that very clear. You can text me at any time. I'm not going to answer you after a certain time, because then that's my time. That's my family
Right.
time. You know, I don't want to say luckily, because my daughter will be like, "What you mean luckily?" But my children are grown, so it's just basically, me and my husband, and we have our nighttime, our this time. I don't let anything interfere with that, because that gives me my balance. And when I deviate from that, if I don't get in my exercise, or if I don't get, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, and then I wouldn't be able to help people. So that's how I get through it. I set up my standards, and I don't deviate from them at all, unless there's an emergency.
And
So
I think that's definitely important because you can't pour into anyone else if you haven't poured into yourself first. So that's definitely important. And I'm glad you're doing that because I've talked to different types of people from doctors, nurse practitioners, or whatever. And I'm like, how do you provide self care? And they're like, what's that? So, you're pouring from an empty cup is not really healthy for you. So,
no, it's not. And you learn the hard way. When you're younger, when I was younger, then that's how I was, being a young mother and a young wife, and you figure you got to do everything for everybody, and you can't, you're not supposed to accept help, because remember, we're Black women, so we're supposed to be strong, and then we can do it all. And then I'm burnt
right,
out,
right,
fat as heck, and now I got all of these diseases going on. So that took me to say, well, you know what? Yeah, them kids can't clean up their own room. What am I doing? Why am
right,
I
right,
like, somebody needs,
right,
my son used to always ask, "Oh, Ma, do you need help with something?" I used to go, "No." After that, "Yes, sweetie, could you take the vacuum and do that?" And the first time I did it, he was like, "Oh,
uh,
okay." Yes, he told me to do
he was
something.
like, before I was just being nice. I wasn't really expecting you to say, yeah, you wanted me to help you. So, wow.
So then the other kids learned from that, and they didn't ask, but at least he was like, and asking, "You just don't have to tell me." But you have, I'm telling you, it's like, when you're on an airplane and they say put your mask on first. You have
Right.
to take, and it's not being selfish. Like, a lot of women think that, oh, I can't. It's then I'm being selfish. No, you're not being selfish. You have to be the best you that you can be, so that you can take care of everybody. And when you have daughters, they will learn from you and
Exactly.
by example.
Exactly. I definitely agree. So, what other projects are you working on that we can look out for?
Well, let's see. I actually have a third book. I'm working on it. Don't know if it's going to be available at the end of this year or the beginning of next year, with the Hope series. And so I love the series. And so we have that coming out soon. I'm also, with a podcast, our podcast, we just turned into a nonprofit. And what we focus on is, again, educating women on how to live a better life. And we are going to be giving out different scholarships for women who are starting businesses, or need help with their education, or whatever that's going to make them lead a more fulfilling life. So I'm very excited about that. So besides those two things are enough. Those two
Okay.
things are enough.
And your two books, what are your two books about and where can someone find it?
They can actually go on Amazon. One is called Your Time Is Now, and that is actually on Amazon. Or you can look me up as the author page, and you'll see both of them there. I think the next one that's coming out is going to be Queens That Conquer. So, again, that's either going to be later this year or the beginning of next year. But they are all on Amazon, and I'm very proud of them. It's a whole group of women from different backgrounds and providing, different advice. And it's what I love about it is that no matter what race or nationality you are, we all have the same issues.
Oh
We
yeah.
all have the same
Oh
issues.
yeah. In some shape or form, yes. Yes, we
We
do. Yeah.
really do. And that kind of, opened my eyes to that a little bit more because I'm really, focused on, African American women because I don't think we have enough positive outlets out there. But reading some of the other women's story, I was like, oh my God, they do that. They do that in India. Oh,
Right, 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 right. And I definitely agree, because it's not when we go to doctor's offices or dentist office or whatever type of office, therapist office, we don't
they
see someone that looks like us, so we can't really open up and be honest and connect because we're like, okay, well, I'm just going for a physical and I'm in and out, and they're asking you all these personal questions, and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm fine, but you're not really being honest. So I get that, and I've had a lot of women say to me, that's because they don't look like me. They can't, relate to a black woman's body.
Exactly. Or even how we think or how we
Right,
act. They don't know how to talk to us.
right,
Sometimes they think we are unapproachable. You got that angry black woman. I don't know. So it's the way they say things, and it's just like, did you really just say that to me? So I totally understand that, and we do need more African American women out there representing us. I know they're out there. We just got to find them.
right,
And
right,
so that we and have our own kind of network for those who have that mindset to know, okay, I think we talked about like the dentist. I'm like, I haven't seen a black dentist where I live. I would love to go to a black dentist. If they exist, I haven't found one. We need a
right.
network like this. I
Yes,
mean, you spend so much money on other things. We need to keep it within our community, but that's another conversation.
yeah. So that definitely, yeah. So definitely get that. Had an interview with a dental hygienist some time ago, and I asked her how she got started, and she said, I used to go to the dentist, and I didn't see anybody that looked like me. So, and I thought that was big. I was like, you're right. You don't see that many that look like us. And when you do, you're like, oh, I want a whole team of black women.
Yes, yes. That's what I would love. A whole team of black women, black
Right.
accountants, lawyers, doctors, architects,
Exactly.
engineers. Come
Exactly.
on, y'all.
Therapist, masseuse, like come on through. Yes, yes. So how can someone reach you for services?
You can reach me the easiest way. You can email me at info@coachtamika.com, or you can give me a call at 609-257-6660. You can find me on Facebook at Coach Tamika's the handle, Instagram, Diabetes Coach Tamika. My website is coachtamika.com. So that's how you can reach me. I would love to help you all any way I can.
And are you work with anyone in any area? It's not
Yeah, it could be any area. You only have to be a
okay.
woman. That's your only criteria. I do not. I do not help men. Sorry. Um,
Gosh.
because I can't, men
Right, right,
have, I send those to my husband because men have totally different dynamics.
right.
I just don't deal with them at all like that. So, and yes, you can be anywhere in the world. I have clients in India, the UK, the country of Jersey. Doesn't matter where you are. I didn't even know there was a country called Jersey until I got an English.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I'm like, New Jersey? They're like, no, the country Jersey. I had to look it up on the map. I was like,
You're
Jersey?
like, oh, I think you're joking.
I
Okay.
think I really did. I really did.
Well, I thank you for your time and definitely educating on nutrition and diabetes for people who are unaware and don't know, or people who's also living with it or may have signs and symptoms and they're unaware or ignoring it or whatever the case may be. Thank you for that knowledge, and I thank you for your time. I know you have to go soon, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. And if you do have it, if you think you have it, there is help out there. You don't have to be a slave to your medications. You just have to work on changing your mindset. And trust me when I say it, you will not regret it because you don't know how good you can feel because you've been feeling
Right.
like crap most of your life. So thank you for having me, Lejeune.
All right. Till next time, I would definitely like to have you back when your third book comes out, and definitely love to talk about that with you. So until next time, thank you,
Thank
Tamika.
you.